Hello, everybody. Imagine this. 4th of July is here. Is the year flown by so quickly? I'm Aaron Locks. I am the founder of the National Academy of Athletics, and in my wonderful opportunity to be the host of the Youth Sports Mastery, we've been having so much fun with amazing and wonderful guests. Today, I get a special guest because it's a really close friend of mine who, oh, by the way, knows a whole lot about pickleball, and we're going to dig in a little bit. Laree, how are you doing this morning?
So good. Happy 4th.
Happy 4th. It's coming up so quick. I can't believe the year's half over already. This is insane. You know, as part of the Daily Parks and Rec show, each week we explore what's going on in youth sports and really digging in everything from how to help parents, how to help people that maybe want to play pickleball, which we'll talk about, or people that are involved anything in youth sports. And it's been a lot of fun. Today, we're going to dig in a ton how you're mowing the lawns out there. All right. Well, let's do this. Craig, why don't you run this?
4th, everyone's going to have their lawns perfect, right?
There you go. Let's do it. Go ahead and run the information, if you would, Craig, on the Daily Parks and Rec show, and we'll come back to this in just a minute.
Welcome to DPRS Media Co, the first media company built for the people behind the Parks and Rec community. We don't just cover on Parks and Rec, we elevate it, we amplify it, we honor it. At the heart of everything we do is one mission: to serve the public servants, the professionals who design, maintain, and lead the parks that shape our communities. Under the Daily Parks and Rec show, we produce 6 powerful platforms. Leadership in Parks and Rec, a spotlight on directors, superintendents, and visionaries shaping the future of public spaces. Facility maintenance, where the boots hit the ground, a deep dive into the systems, crews, and craftsmanship that keep our parks clean, safe, and beautiful. Young Professionals Network, shining a light on the next generation of Parks and Rec. Students, interns, and mentors sharing how we build a legacy together. Youth Sports Mastery, sponsored by National Academy of Athletics. This series is for coaches, parents, and rec leaders working to make youth sports fun, fair, and meaningful again. The Rec Room, hosted by the passionate leaders of Henry County Parks and Rec. This show brings frontline energy and real-life stories from the field. And the weekly Parks and Rec Post, our official newsletter delivering stories, insights, and community wins every week. We are DPRS Media Co, LLC, a media company with a mission to uplift the professionals who serve every community, every park, every day.
And we're back. I'm cracking up. And so where are you located today, Laree? I know you get to go around the country a little bit. Where are you at today?
Today I'm up in Harbor Springs, Michigan. We'll be here for the summer, visiting my wonderful father. I'll be mixing in a little golf with my pickleball for the next few months.
Love that. All right. You mentioned pickleball. It's the one, right? The fastest growing thing everywhere. You can't go anywhere. And there's that sound, that lovely sound that you hear. But let's dig in. Let me know, so everybody knows a little bit about who you are, and then let's talk about your adventure in pickleball. So go for it.
I was mostly a soccer player growing up. Came back to soccer even in adulthood. Was on a team for about 10 years, and at that point kept getting slammed by very large men and ending up in the emergency room from time to time. And my mother-in-law was always talking to my husband and I about pickleball. She actually was a really good friend of Joel Pritchard, was one of the original ambassadors of the sport, and has a room full of trophies. And she would bring her paddles, and every time she came to visit, we'd get out there on the court. And my husband and I just decided, hey, let's give this thing a try. Maybe we'll be less injury prone, try to keep our bodies healthy as we get older. So we just fell in love with it, fell in love with the community that surrounds pickleball. And, it's just one of those things that anyone can do. And it's fun to play with your family, friends, kids. Even got my dad out there for a little bit. So we're definitely addicted.
Yeah. You know, you can see how it's such an addicting adventure. You know, when you're out there, I played a little bit myself, you know, but you mentioned the word community.
Yeah.
And to me, you know, at the National Cav Athletics, we're big on community. We work with Parks and Recreation departments to bring youth sports programs back to communities. That's what we do, right? Obviously. So when you mention community, and I've seen it because I've watched it, I'm blown away. I've watched you play in tournaments even. It's the community is unbelievable. And it's weird because it's not just a competitive community, but it's also a supportive community, right? It's a really interesting mix of that. So let's go. Tell me about community.
No, and I got to tell you, I mean, we, my husband and I started just, you know, doing some singles. Just we didn't know anyone else that played, and we would go visit his dad, and his dad was a part of this community up in or down in Palm Desert. And we'd go out to the courts, and at that time, most of the people who were playing were, you know, 65 plus.
Yeah.
But invited us in, you know, come learn, come play, come, we'll teach you how to play doubles. And, you know, it's just the most welcoming thing. I mean, we got back home and looked up online, you know, how to find courts, and showed up at a park, and there's all these people, and they're like the new people, yay, welcome. And you know, you throw your paddle down, and that's it. You're in a game.
Yeah. You know, it's funny how people get engaged in the sport. And you're talking about, I'll call us the gray hairs, right? The gray hairs, and they played. But I'm looking at it, and it's amazing to me how, I'll call it trickle down, whatever the case may be. But I remember I visited with my mom, my uncle in New York City, and he was a handball player.
Mm-hmm.
And of course. So we went out there, and these guys were gray hairs, and you stepped on the court, and they wanted to kick your butt. You coming out here to play with me? You know, like, right? It was
There's a really good joke about walking onto a court, and if you see an old guy wearing a knee brace and he's hunched over, run, because he's gonna kick your butt in pickleball.
Yeah, he's still out there doing it. You know he is. Well, and that was the deal. And I was like, my hands hurt. And like, you big, you know, they were just getting after it. But it's such an interesting, it's an interesting thing to me, which as I look at this, because getting back to the community and where it's going, why do you think pickleball is? I mean, like, okay, you read, everybody reads. It's the fastest growing sport. It's all these things, and I understand from watching it, seeing it, but it's addictive, right? But why is it the fastest? I mean, look, how long have you been doing it?
About 5 years now.
5 years.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Right. So when you started, why do you think it's such a fast growing sport? Why do you think it's so big? Like, tell the rest, because there's people out there I know that look at pickleball and, hey, we're tennis snobs. We would never do that. Or how do I even do that? Because I can't get out there and do this thing. But
well, I think it's because it's so easily accessible. All you need to do is go buy a paddle and a ball. The courts are there. You show up, and you can travel anywhere. Pickleball paddle in your suitcase, and show up, and you've got a new community of people to play with. And I think that's the biggest difference is, you know, when we played soccer, I mean, we were diehard soccer players. But when we went on vacation, or you went, you know, come up here to spend the summer in northern Michigan, you could see an empty soccer field, but it's not like you can just jump into a game.
Right.
I think that, you know, the other part is, you know, families can play. You know, you can ever get a 4-pack of a paddles, and you know, a child can play with their mother and can play with their grandmother, and it's fun for everyone. I mean, you don't even need to know the rules of the game. You know, just to hit the ball back and forth across the court causes fun and laughter, and, you know, camaraderie with your partner. And it's a sport I don't believe is ever going to go away. I think it's just going to continue to grow. I'm even seeing now more kids out there, which I love. There's a little girl we played with the other day. Her name's Scout, and she was an animal. She'd only been playing 2 years. She had a little bit of a background in tennis, but fell in love with the sport. And, you know, she was the only child there, but, you know, acted like an adult, and was just, you know, everyone had respect for her. And I mean, you didn't need to play easy on her because she was pretty much beating everyone up. But you know, it's
She
just
was only
really
4 years old, and she's out there. No,
yeah, no, she was 9.
yeah.
9, still
Even so, I don't want to get beat by a 9-year-old, right? Okay.
Yeah.
But so when I see it, because I drive by the courts, and you know, at the National Academy of Athletics, I think we've got 35, 40 summer camps, and they're one of the fastest growing. I mean, they're out there. And what we've been able to do is connect the pickleball community, and they actually get certified to be coaches with us. And then they come out using the talk, teach, play method to teach pickleball. And I just love that. I know you love that too, right? That connection is so good generationally, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, kids are seeing the sport now. I mean, if they're seeing it online, you know, on all their social media sites, and we'd love to get them off those social media sites and get out there and actually get to participate in the game. And it's a great way for kids to come together and learn together. Parents don't have to worry about their kid. Oh, well, they've never played tennis. I never played tennis. A lot of people I know never play tennis. You can take skills from volleyball, racquetball, you know, even soccer. What a lot of people tell me is I've got great footwork because of soccer. You know, it's another one of those sports we just really want kids to get to experience. It's going to get them out moving. You know, they may not have excelled in some of the other sports. You know, we want kids to try all sports. It really keeps them more active and allows them to find something that they love and they're passionate about. And I think pickleball is going to be that for a lot of kids.
It's funny you talk about I'm not even going to use the word cross training, because what we're really talking about here is, right, just the joy of and having the fun with that, right? I remember when I played, and I played baseball, basketball, football. I played everything in high school. But Julie Lanzarin, who I know is actually listening because she's commenting on this. So, hi, Coach Julie. Julie is a huge pickleball player, by the way. But with Julie, which is really cool. She lives up the way. So what I said, hey, Aaron, why don't you come out and play on the badminton team? We're starting a badminton competition team. Yeah. And I was like, badminton, you know, but I went there and played. And actually I had a very good partner. We actually made it to North House playing badminton. But to your point, it was the footwork. And I still to this day remember, because the multi-sport athlete, the ability to use your body in different ways, right? Hand-eye coordination, all these different things, it develops confidence. And what I'm loving about watching pickleball, our camps have kids 6, 7, 8 years old that are learning the hand-eye coordination, the confidence, the development of that. It's amazing, right?
Absolutely. You know, and that's one of the things that I hear a lot from some of the adults I play with is, you know, oh, I don't think I'm going to be good at this because of, you know, hand-eye coordination. And I think if you get kids at young ages playing lots of different sports, that's real important for any sport they're going to play. But, you know, keeping your eye on the ball is crucial in pickleball.
Right. Well, and in any sport, because it's interesting, because even, you know, doing a little work with Barry Bonds, one of the best hitters ever, and he talked about how you receive that ball coming in, right? And then you talk about players, you know, Michael Stone, one of our partners, talking about defense and how it all ties together. And it's crazy to me that this weird wiffle ball, pickleball thing is connecting the dots again. But what is blowing me away, and I really want your opinion on it, you're a certified instructor, right? You've done the training, so you can teach this stuff. So listen, she's a pro, so you know she knows what she's talking about here, right? So why, when you talk about the accessibility to people, how do they learn? Like do you, if I've got, let's say it's me and my 9-year-old granddaughter, or me and my son or family, how do they go? Do they just show up at the court and learn, or what do you do? Like if you're at the courts and someone walks up, what do you do?
Well, honestly, I think, you know, any age, it's really good to start with a lesson, because you can pick up bad habits. And this is one of those sports that you certainly would pick up bad habits if you didn't learn the right way. Although, you know, the other fun part about this sport is if you watch the pros, I mean, they're not doing everything the same exact way. it's always great to learn those fundamentals, learn the basics, and then start, your own experimental process on ways that you might be able to do things a little differently. And that's what keeps your opponents on their toes. So, but getting out there, enrolling your child in, obviously one of our programs is going to be a great way to introduce them to the sport. And they're going to get to meet other kids that are also just learning the sport, so that they can start playing together and having fun. The fun part is the most important, to keep them coming back. But, learning those fundamentals is going to be key. And then giving them the time to just, goof around, play, experience hitting the ball and getting to hit, keep that point going. No matter what, what it may look like out there, balls flying everywhere, but who cares? If they're having fun, they're going to then progress into wanting to win the point,
Right.
and that's when the little bit of competitive nature kicks in, and you get to, want to learn how to do things a little better. So, just get your kids enrolled into a pickleball program. And
So-
parks and recs everywhere now are having them, right? I mean, I remember when I contacted USA Pickleball, I said we wanted to start running youth sports programs with pickleball. I think we were the first. I mean, how many, 3 years ago now?
Yeah.
And they were amazingly helpful in, providing us with some tools and some practice videos and things, so that we could, start figuring out the best way for our coaches to learn how to properly teach the sport. We had Battle Paddle. I got to throw out a big thank you to Battle Paddle, because they sent us a bunch of paddles for our kids. It's exploding everywhere. And I mean, I'm driving by the same rec centers I've driven by now for 20 years. And I love seeing that they're putting in some pickleball courts.
Right.
It's a great way to get your rec center thriving. I know that I see some yoga classes going on, and all these things are great. But if you want to get a program going where the whole family can come and play and meet new people, build your community, which is why I love it so much. You get those pickleball courts going out there.
It's funny. I've got some friends that are managers of health clubs, and recently we get a chance to chat about business and whatnot. And I've noticed some of them have converted and made their basketball courts also be able to be used for pickleball. And basketball is really popular. Don't get me wrong. Don't mess with my sport, but it's using up. But the tennis courts as well. So just off the top here. So for those that don't know, would you explain pickleball? I mean, just kind of because some people, I know you can go to YouTube and whatnot, but give me a little bit more, like sure. I know what pickleball is, because I know you, and you said that's how pickleball is. But what is pickleball? And do you, right?
I think people are going to fast forward this part, because I think everybody now know it's everywhere in the news. But I think the best part about pickleball, especially for older people, is the court's smaller.
Right.
I mean, bottom line, the court's smaller. The ball moves slower. Well, unless you get one of these new high-tech paddles, it's going to move a little faster. But we start the kids with the easy ones. Pickleball, it's you got 2 players on each side. Court strategy is key. You'll start, as you progress through the sport, it's not just about hitting it back and forth over the net. You really work with your partner to set up shots as a team. And, I think that's one of the reasons why I, love it so much from coming from soccer is, you still have that team aspect. You play to 11 points. Each server gets a side on each side of the court, and then you lose the ball, it goes to the other side. And once you get to that 11th point, you win. It's nice, because some games can last 10, 15 minutes. Some games will last almost an hour. It just depends on how high level everybody is on the court. But You can go out there, you can play for 2 and 3 hours and not feel like you're going to fall over. You know, it's a lot of good exercise, and it's low impact, and it's, you know, in that fat burning zone. Sorry, I come from fitness. So
No, that's good. Yeah.
it's a great sport to, you know, definitely get out there and get yourself, you know, back into shape. If you've been sitting on the couch for a while, warm up. You know, oh, everyone's getting so injured playing pickleball. You know, the hospitals are full. It's because people are jumping off their couch and thinking they can go play pickleball. It is a sport, and you are moving around, and you do need to warm up before you just jump out there.
All right. So I need one more clarification. It's funny because, you know, we're on LinkedIn, and I just got a message from LinkedIn. You ready for this? This is the toughest question. And this is in quotes, so I'm not going to call them out, Chris. But what the hell is the kitchen? That's the question. What the hell is the kitchen? Can you explain that?
It's a silly name for the technical term, which is the non-volley zone. You cannot stand in the non-volley zone while you're playing the game. You can step into it at any time, but the ball has to drop and bounce before you can hit it. So you don't stand there, or people are just going to nail you with the ball. So yeah, the kitchen, you know, I don't even use that term when I'm teaching, because it really doesn't help someone to learn that it is the non-volley zone for a reason.
Okay. Because it's funny, because I can see some, you know, my good friend, not to name drop, but Rick Barry, as you know, a Hall of Fame basketball player, he's out there playing octogenarian, and just, you know, but he's, you know, 6'7" with a 7'4" wingspan. If he just stood up front in the kitchen, you couldn't get it past him, right?
He needs a partner. You let me know.
Okay, well, Rick, I'm sure you're watching. Rick, give us a call. Next time you come to Wine Country, we'll hook you guys up. That'll be fun. That'll be a lot of fun. So I feel like I'm seeing it, that the influence of pickleball on communities, and I'm really seeing it in terms of the connection. I love when I see the gray hairs like me out there with the kids and that connection. And I see it's a community. I see, like, I'll drive by and I see people out there, like, they're pulling up ice chests, and it's like an event, right? You guys, like, they got the chairs and you're out there, and I'm not going to say some people are drinking beers or whatever, but people are doing whatever they're doing out there. They're hanging out, and I know there's some more serious than others, right? We've seen it. But what would you say? What would you say is I want to talk about the youth sports aspect of this. Yeah. How has pickleball, in your mind, influenced the youth sports? Because I've got some thoughts on it, but I want to get your thoughts about how it's impacting the kids, the parks and recreation, because, like you said earlier, just getting more kids out there doing things, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, kids are going to, at this age, I mean, right now we're having this struggle, right? I mean, youth sports have been in a decline. You know, for many reasons. Pandemic obviously didn't help, but, you know, these darn screens, you know, we didn't have screens growing up, and, you know, you didn't want to be at home. You wanted to be outside playing. So, you know, what I'm seeing is, you know, thank goodness the professionals, you know, that are, you know, playing in these tournaments across the country, you know, they really are showing that they care about, you know, that getting kids involved in the game. And I think more and more kids are starting now to watch it on, you know, thank goodness. I'm so excited. We have Pickleball TV now, because it's the only TV I think I ever turn on or watch. But, you know, kids are able to see it, and they're seeing how much fun it can be. You know, I think a lot of them are leaving tennis to play pickleball. I think it's a little more cool, maybe. Sorry, tennis people, I don't mean to step on your parade or anything, but you know, I think tennis is can be an expensive sport, and you can't just travel around and find, you know, an open court and people to play with. And pickleball is just a little bit easier for kids to, you know, grab a cheap paddle and a ball, you know, plastic ball, and, you know, like you said, even hit it around on a tennis court. You know, you can buy different products online where you can just, you know, I have tape, And if I don't have access to a pickleball court, I'll throw the tape down so for lessons. Even, it doesn't need to be pro. It's fun. I mean, it can be a hit and giggle sport if you want it to. Yes, I think that's why kids are loving it. It's really hard to get hurt playing pickleball. I mean, sure, I get hit with a ball a lot, but it's but it doesn't, I'll leave a mark for a day or so. But, to me, I think the kids will continue to just want to get better, and I think when we're inspiring kids to fall in love with something, and they can see themselves progress, they develop a passion. And honestly, I don't care what sport it is. I just want them to keep moving. Our kids got to get healthy again. They're our future.
Right. Well, and if we can find any way to get them off the couch, I also think, which is interesting, I was kind of going through my notes and just thinking about if you're a parent and you can take your child out there, you used to play catch, right? I get that. And then we used to play, believe it or not, pickle, where we'd run, or pepper, or little games to kind of increase your skill. But the ability to compete, like you've said, which I think is really cool, is the ability for a parent. I could go out there with my 8-year-old and compete with you and somebody, and we can compete, because when we bring up competition, people freak out a little bit, right? But I think competition done the right way is really important for kids, right? At the National Cav Athletics, we talk about using our talk, teach, play. The play is competition, and the kids have to be able to learn to compete and win and lose and be okay with it, right? Talk a little bit about spirit, because I see it when I watch you compete, the spirit of the competition within pickleball.
Well, that's the most unusual part, I think, of the sport, is how kind everybody is. After a game, you walk up, you tap paddles, everyone's great game, great, gracious. Most tournaments, if you're playing in smaller tournaments, you don't even have, a ref, or someone watching the line calls. You're calling the line calls. So you're also learning, to be honest. And, I've seen people get bad raps for cheating. Like, they're known as the cheater, because so you kids get to learn these things. And what's important is that they are learning to be gracious winners, and and can handle, with dignity, the loss. It's being able to, you throw your paddle in there and you go do it again. And everyone is just, great shot, great this, great, your competitors are complimenting you as you're playing. I mean, you get smoked and you're like, wow, how'd you do that? Gotta go learn that one. So, I think that's, I very rarely see people that are, upset. And usually when it is, it's just about the paddle system at the court, my paddle was in front of yours. And, that's one thing, Parks and Rec need help with, and that I've been around the country now, different parks, and everyone's trying to come up with a system, that how to make the systems work. I've met a really great woman at Pickleheads. Pickleheads is officially endorsed by the USA Pickleball and the Global Pickleball Association. Now, it's an app for your phone. You can download it, and you can find courts anywhere in the world, and you can connect with the people at those courts, plan your trips in advance of when you're playing. And it's a great way to find out, when different levels play, so when are families playing? And I know this is a hard one for the recs, Parks and Recs. They're wanting to bring the community together, but they need to set certain hours for open play, and then they need to have certain hours for families, so that the families feel comfortable at first before jumping into open play situations. And, this app is a really good way for Parks and Recs to manage that program.
Real quick, hang on. We're going to go to break in a second here, but what's the app called so people know?
It's called Pickleheads, and the Parks and Rec people should know. I will. Is there a way we can put a contact information or something?
We'll make sure that we put it in there. We'll be liable.
Contact Suzanne. That's her job. She wants to help Parks and Rec people better know how to plan their courts for open play and things so that they're successful.
All right, we're going to jump to break right now. And when we come back, we're going to talk about pickleball instruction for kids and having a way to help Parks and Recreation departments develop a foundation that can help expand and use their pickleball courts better. So we'll go to break now. We'll come back in just a minute.
At DPRS Media Co, we don't just create content. We elevate community through storytelling. Now, we're proud to introduce the newest addition to the family. Welcome to Youth Sports Mastery, the podcast where champions are shaped not just on the field, but in life. Hosted by National Academy of Athletics founder Aaron Locks. Youth Sports Mastery dives deep into how youth sports can empower kids, strengthen communities, and build leaders. From coaching culture to recreation strategy, and from player development to parent impact, every episode brings game-ready insight from the people making it happen. Youth Sports Mastery goes live every Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Only on the Daily Parks and Rec Show, sponsored by National Academy of Athletics and powered by DPRS Media Co. This is where purpose meets play.
Welcome back to the Youth Sports Mastery Show. I'm here with Laree Mancour. She's hanging out in Michigan. I'm here in the Northern California area, and we're talking pickleball. So if you're just joining us, we've been talking a lot about the lovely parts of pickleball and how it all kind of comes together and why it has become the fastest growing sport. But Laree, those know that we're in the game of helping kids live better lives through youth sports. We are at the National Academy of Athletics working very hard to help people who want to get involved in this area. We're giving them an opportunity to do that through what we do through our franchising and working with us and our training. And there's a whole component which we'll get into. But I want to talk specifically about this. This year at the National Academy of Athletics, I just looked up, we have 41 summer camps that are pickleball. And I know it warms your heart, doesn't it? Because you're like, 3 years ago, we didn't have that. You know what I mean? And now, in partnership with Parks and Recreation all over, from Michigan to Texas to Nevada to in California, we're doing, and actually Denver's coming, Colorado's coming. We're teaching pickleball camps, right? So would you talk a little bit just in your mindset? I want you to come from the pickleball space. I'll come from the camp space. I know you know both, but we got to play some pickleball. Mm-hmm. Well, let's get a rally going. All right. Give me one or two things. If you're a Parks and Rec department, why would you offer a pickleball camp? And how does that work from the Parks and Rec space, right? I've got some ideas, but I think our audience is a lot of Parks and Rec people. And if you're out there in the Parks and Rec space, you might be going, well, pickleball camp, what the heck, right?
Well, they're in the service of community, and there's no, I have never seen a sport ever that offers more community, to everyone. So of course, we care about the kids and we want to get the kids out there playing, but it's, the kids can bring their families. And I think when you have, you're managing a Parks and Rec center in your area, and you are really about, how do you bring the community together? And this is a way. I mean, it doesn't matter how old you are or how much in shape you are or how athletic you are. It's something everyone can do and is doing. So if you've got the courts, or you've got the decrepit tennis courts that no one's playing on. It's a great way to, I almost can guarantee that even if you did a fundraiser to build the courts, that you would get that money needed to put those pickleball courts in, because everybody wants to play. And I know people that are driving over an hour to get to courts to play.
Wow, So as a Parks and Rec person, like you're talking about the community, and we're big about community. And for me, any way we can connect, I think kids are so much more in need of role models than critics, right? So if you can get someone out there and they can play pickleball with their kids, the connection is pretty amazing, right? Just that feeling. And the cool part is they can compete. If you're an adult playing baseball against a kid or basketball against a kid, that's gonna make it really challenging to be equal. Where pickleball is kind of the great equalizer, right?
Oh, absolutely. I played in a tournament not too long ago with a mother and son. He was 19 years old. She was 50-ish. I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, she could move. She could hit the ball. I mean, he was a little more crafty than she was, but they really made a great team.
Yeah. Well, and I think the cool part to me is, again, to be able to offer that. Now, me, I'm big and I'm a camp guy. I'm going to tell you straight up, I'm a camp guy. My kids, when they're growing up, now they're adults, but when they were kids, before they played a sport, before they played baseball, before they went and signed up for basketball, whatever it was, before they played, they would go to a camp or a clinic. I really think it's so important to learn the fundamentals, right?
Yeah.
And I think that if Parks and Recs, that's where we started, you get the opportunity, and I did when I was a kid, you got to go to the camp to learn, like to learn the kitchen or to learn how you serve or to learn the boundaries. Because once you learn them, then it gives you a foundation, and you can develop a level of confidence, not just skill level, but confidence and all those other factors, right? I mean, isn't that important for them?
Yeah, I played a ton of sports growing up, but I have this very vivid memory of basketball experience, which wasn't good because I stepped out got put on the court, and I didn't know the rules. I didn't know how to play, and so it like broke my confidence, and it was the one sport I avoided on the playground. Because I was embarrassed, and that's hard on a little kid. So yeah, definitely getting your kid a little bit of experience with putting them into a camp and learning the fundamentals is always key. At least they're going to walk on the court or any field with the confidence of at least knowing the rules, and knowing the fundamentals.
So look, being in National Cav Athletics, I want you to talk a little bit about the importance of having the right instruction, right? And a little bit. I want you to dive in a little bit. This is going to be self-indulgent, but I guess what? We're going to do this a little bit. I think it's important people understand the difference between just rolling the balls out and playing and having someone there that has been certified to teach, whether it's pickleball or anything, right? Give me a little bit on that. You know what? I'm passionate about this. And if you're a Parks and Rec out there, I know some of the deal is how do we provide these programs, whether it's a basketball camp or a clinic or whatever it is. But the reality is if we want kids to stop quitting sports, we've got to give them instruction to develop a foundation that allows them to develop as a passion in a positive way, right? And it starts with coaches. So talk a little bit about, maybe if you want, tell a little bit about our certification, talk about our coaching training, because I think it's important people understand these things, and it does translate into pickleball and everything else, obviously, because we're teaching it, right?
Yeah. Well, obviously, our coaches are all certified in all, the major things that they need to be aware of, sexual harassment, mandate reporter,
background check, cleared,
we put them through the full gamut. We want to know that our coaches out there are, parents are always going to feel secure that their kids are in good hands. But the second part of that certification that is really important to us is how to teach. seeing the volunteer parents out there, which I've seen a lot through, family members and their coaches. It's really hard to watch. It's, I know they're doing it out of the goodness of their hearts, but if they don't know how to work with today's child, the kids aren't happy. They're not having fun. It's a little disastrous out there when kids are just standing around and the coach doesn't know what to do.
Right.
Being able, we want to make sure that our coaches know how to work with today's child. And that's a very big differentiator. COVID really didn't do us any favors. Our kids were already suffering from obesity. Our obesity chart is like this in America. Now they've got anxiety, they've got depression, and, those aren't things to take lightly. I mean, those are things that kids should be in therapy for. And we like to think that getting these kids out to play can be such great therapy for them. So you need a coach that knows how to work with that child, how to talk to them, how to let them think that, they're doing it their way, even though it's the right way. We want to give kids empowerment, but also, they've got to learn right and wrong, and they've got to learn respect for their coaches, which is, a hard one these days. I can't even tell you how many times I go to visit our camps. I'm there to take videos and, get pictures, but I don't even tell them I'm coming. And the coaches, I don't know where we find these guys and gals, but they are just, they've obviously had the passion.
Right.
They obviously wanted to work with kids, but then you put them through this training and they just become superstars. I mean, it is just so wonderful to see how the kids react to them. I mean, they're like their heroes, and that's how it was when I was a kid. The coaches for our heroes, they respect them. So they want to learn, and they want to, they're little sponges. Kids want to learn. And I think that I'm just so proud of all of the coaches I've seen, over the years. They're just, and it's remarkable. So get your kids in an NAofA camp if you want some good coaches.
Yeah. I love that, again, the passion you can feel that comes through. We've got some really cool, I'm watching the kids progress. When I say the kids, I'm not just talking about the campers. I'm watching our coaches progress as well.
Yeah.
So again, it's back to that community. So if you're a Parks and Rec professional and you're trying to think about, okay, pickleball is becoming a thing, and let's be honest, it's not going away, like you said, right? So translating now back to Parks and Recreation, how can a Parks and Rec department, how can a city, how can a municipality, how can an organization help navigate through, ingratiate themselves to the pickleball boom? Like what you got some ideas, maybe thoughts on how they can be a part of that? Because the deal is, if they're not going to do it, it's gonna go somewhere, right? It's not going away,
like
right?
I said, I have friends that are driving, they seriously an hour right now to play. What I suggest, obviously, is contacting a company like National Academy of Athletics, who someone you trust, that's going to have good coaches, to start small. Just have that first week camp. Then you can move into having a league once you start building up. Those camps start selling out, which they do. Parents are definitely wanting to get their kids into pickleball. Probably because they're playing pickleball and they want to be able to play with their kids. So, and parents don't always make the best teacher of your own child, obviously.
It's funny,
starting.
Cut you off real quick. It's funny you say that, because Brad in Michigan, right? He's running at his pickleball camps. have grown so quickly. It's the number one fastest growing for him, where, he started with, let's say, just, 9 or 10 kids. So, which is not a huge camp for a Parks and Recreation department. But then he turns around and the next thing you know, he's got 20 kids, and it's like, it just keeps growing and growing, right?
Yeah, well, sure. I mean, kids are going to invite their friends to come and play, and then it just, I mean, it's too much fun not to keep playing.
And if you're a Parks and Rec director and you want more kids in your program, we have to find, like I like to say when we talk with, Greg from NAPA when he was there, or people we work with, is meet them where they're at, right? Well, this is a hot item, so let's ride this wave. So if I'm a Parks and Rec organization, district, whatever, or city, I can meet them there, and I can offer this program, and then I can develop a connection with not just the kids but their parents, right? And like you talked about, community, which is pretty special. It really is. It's a really interesting place, and it's funny because, again, it comes back to Parks and Rec, and what is our major missions as rec professionals? To build community, right? That's a big part of this.
And if a Park and Rec only has a tennis court, it's not hard to turn those into, you just start with one. I mean, all you have to do is pull the net down in the middle, and they've got devices for that. Pull it down on each side, so you get tape for the lines, and you've got, your makeshift pickleball court. And a lot of kids aren't doing ATPs at this point. So, get them going with, just being able to play. And as you see it grow, you can start thinking about how to resurface some of your, unused courts.
I'm watching parking lots get converted. It's crazy. In some of our camps, we're actually bringing portable net systems out. And so it's really easy. It's not like this major deal where it's even easier to set up in a volleyball net, right? I mean, it's pretty easy to do.
Yeah. And if you want to offer junior youth pickleball, you can go through USA Pickleball, and they've got some pretty great deals for they're the key ambassadors of the sport. They know, the youth are the future of the sport. So they've got some pretty good deals out there for you. Love
that. So I've got a multi-purpose room at my rec center that is very rarely used, right? And it's a parquet floor or something, whatever it is. Can I do pickleball in there?
Yeah, there's different balls for indoor. And lines can get confusing. I mean, I've played in some places where there's like 5 different colored tape for different various sports. But you'll play on any court you can, because you get so addicted. I mean, I've put tape in my garage, so.
It's funny. So when your husband came to the house and you saw my front yard, you go, that'd be a great pickleball court. I go, yeah, right. You guys are always looking. That's awesome. So pickleball, if you're a Parks and Rec director, you can space is reasonable. They can obviously go on the internet and figure out, what does that look like? I'm seeing more and more of them pop up. I'm seeing the community really build. So I just want to kind of set a reminder back about, my philosophy as somebody who was very blessed to work from some of the best coaches in the world. And even when I was young, and being able to respect and value and appreciate what you get from your elders and connect on that, right? But let's talk about the connection between the generations, because if you've got a senior center, right, on which a lot of us, more and more in Parks and Recreation, we need to serve that community. What do you think is the best way to connect those dots? Is it to go talk to the seniors, that community that are already involved in pickleball, and bring them into that to that level? What would you suggest if you're a Parks and Recreation? Because I don't think people are connecting the dots. What other way is there to connect seniors and kids other than, I'm trying to think of how you connect that.
Yeah. And, I'm going to say, obviously, I'm not going to be an expert on how to connect adults with the kids in this sport, but I can tell you that Suzanne Crosswhite from Pickleheads, she's the head of community growth. That's what she does. and she is accessible to you. Anybody from the Parks and Rec community can contact her. She will help you organize, gatherings. She'll help you organize your first, meet and greets to get all ages out there, and then she will help you work, through those struggles sometimes of only having 2 courts, and the best way to handle, when families should play and when it's open play, and when, if you don't reserve some spot for higher level play, you're never going to have the higher level play there. And then the kids don't get to see it, and the kids don't get excited about it. So, I mean, it can be a bit of a struggle, of a formula to put together, but she is the expert at that. And, I definitely suggest reaching out to her.
Is there a software or something that there's got to be something out there for like scheduling?
Yeah, it's an app, that they've developed. It's called Pickleheads, and you can download it on your phone, and you will see. It does so much these days. Besides just finding courts, it has every single court listed, and you can, if your court's not on there yet, and you're trying to figure out how to draw awareness, you definitely want to add your court, and if the information isn't correct, you can contact Suzanne. She will do it on the spot. That's her job. So she's dying to help people grow, help manage their courts so that it's accessible for everyone.
So it's a great lead in terms of, so if I'm a Parks and Recreation, one of the things that I'm trying to figure out how to do it, obviously contacting someone like her is a great in. Excuse me. The other one is USA Pickleball, right? To connect with them to figure out, is there any other organization? Obviously, if you want to run camps, give us a call, and if we're in your area, we'd love to help out. But what other ways would you suggest for Parks and Recreation that are saying, I want to get into pickleball space, other than I understand I got the space and I got to build it out, but are there some tips you might have for a Parks and Recreation leader to get it started?
Well, certainly contacting a youth sports provider. And if we're not in your area, you can even use that Pickleheads app. They do list nearby coaches on there, so that you can find somebody. That's where I would start. You could go to PPR. It's the Professional Pickleball Registry. That's where I have my license through. They have, a huge database of instructors. So there's likely somebody near you that can help get your programs going.
Consultant kind of put that together. And the other thing is, I watched in Santa Rosa where our headquarters are, and I drive down the way and I watch it and I see what's going on. And I just go out and talk to people, you know what I mean? And what's going on, what's needed, because, necessity becomes the mother of invention, and we figure these things out together, right, as we go on with it. It's great. Yeah. So I think that in the Parks and Recreation space, by the way, I'm seeing private clubs opening up. I'm seeing, like pickleball.
Yeah. There's right? franchises popping up now everywhere.
Franchising. Imagine
that. Huge pickleball franchises. Where did we go in Oklahoma? Pig in a Pickle or something like that. It was amazing. It was a gorgeous facility, and it was fun because it was families. The families were there, that you can eat, you can play pickleball, of course, but they had other, cornhole games and things like that. And I love what pickleball has done for fun for families and getting communities together. It's just, I don't know that any other sport can draw an entire family to be able to play a sport together and be competitive and have fun.
Right. Yeah. And to be able to have that full experience and be able to take it. And the other thing is that what I'm loving as well, which I think is really cool, is that community that if you're on your own, you can just show up with a paddle, and they're gonna bring you in, right?
My husband and I drive across the country. We use the app. We find the pickleball courts. we're stopping a hotel to sleep for the night. We wake up, we go show up in this community. Nobody knows who we are. And they're like, hey, it's the new people. I get to play the new people next. And I mean, we've done this now so many times that now it's it's the California people, I mean, my phone is just full of, all I have to do is search pickleball and put in the city name. And I've got, I mean, I have met people all over the country. We stay in touch. We cheer each other on from afar when we're playing in tournaments. I mean, I have never had, I mean, for me personally, meeting people, I mean, I've had my own company for as long as I can remember. And, you don't have that community, you're not meeting people through work, and I have not had so many friends from all over the place. And I mean, I just cherish each and every one of them. They're just such wonderful people.
Yeah. Well, I think what's amazing to me is the whole youth sports, the whole community, the sports community. Let's be honest. I tell everybody there's no better life skill teaching tool than youth sports. And yet what I'm kind of realizing more and more is, I played competitive basketball until I was 52 and my body said, you need to stop. Right.
Yeah.
But pickleball, I mean, like Rick is playing 82, he's still octogenarian, still going with it. But I want to, before we leave, we only got a couple minutes left. And first of all, I really appreciate your time. And I know you're out there, and I'm sure your husband and your father are like, come on, we're going to go play pickleball. We got something to do. But
that's exactly what they're doing.
I know they are, right? And okay, but you mentioned the word franchising, right? Yeah. And let's talk about it a little bit, because what I'm loving is that people are coming from all over the country that want to bring the National Academy of Athletics to the communities for just this reason, not just pickleball, right? We do 12 different sports and that. Will you talk just a little bit, because I think it's important that, if you're a Parks and Rec director out there and you're looking to bring youth sports program to the community, let us know, reach out, nationalacademyathletics.com, and you can grab us. But what if you're a person that would like to get involved and actually run a National Academy of Athletics? Can you talk a little bit about that and franchising opportunity for a little bit?
Yes, I'd love to. I gotta say, we are thrilled to have awarded now 10 franchises. And when I say awarded, I mean we're not just trying to grow. We are really looking for the people that in their heart, this is a passion. They want to see change in our children. They're recognizing the struggles, even just in a grocery store, and seeing how children their behaviors there, it is a tough time for kids, and, it's up to us to help them. And we're looking for those people that are passionate, love sports, great, love working with kids and want to make a difference in the lives of children. That's who we can teach how to run this business. It's such a rewarding business to be in. It's fun, of course. We fun first, right? Even when it comes to the kids, it's super fun. But it takes someone that's willing to put in the hard work. What I love about it is you want to be out there developing relationships with community, relationships with the community partners, the rec centers, the schools. How can we help you? How can we help you make a difference with your children, with the youth programs at your facility? Because we want to help you make a difference in your community. So those are the kind of people we're looking for. And we've got a great training program. It's very thorough. Every department you will learn: sales, operations, strategy. You're going to learn it all. And you are going to be able to run a very successful and rewarding youth sports business in your area.
Love it. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. And I just will say, if you're a person that gets up in the morning and you're not excited to go to work and you're ready for a change, you know what? Yeah, definitely check out the National Academy of Athletics for sure. Laree, if they want to talk pickleball, if they want to talk franchising, if they want to talk kids, whatever, where do they find you?
Well, you can always email me at Laree, Laree, at NAofA.us. That's the best way. Find me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect. I'm happy to help you with your advancement in figuring out how to run pickleball in your community. Happy to help you connect with Suzanne, who's certainly the expert. And if you want to talk, changing the lives of children in your community, more than happy to spend the time to find out, how we can help you do that.
Appreciate it. Wow. Okay. We just spent an hour talking pickleball and all kinds of stuff and got the big smile on your face. I hope that the rest of your day and the 4th of July weekend is awesome for you and the family. For those of you that have spent your time with us, this has been great. Each week we get the opportunity to talk with people about youth sports. And as you can see, we've kind of expanded into everything possible, because if you love sports and you want to help kids and you're a Parks and Rec professional, or you want to get in the space, keep watching Youth Sports Mastery, which we're going to talk about every week, where we talk about everything youth sports, and hopefully everybody gets to talk, teach, and play. Thanks for your time, everybody. We'll see you next Thursday. Happy 4th.
Welcome to DPRS Media Co, the first media company built for the people behind the Parks and Rec community. We don't just cover on Parks and Rec, we elevate it, we amplify it, we honor it. At the heart of everything we do is one mission: to serve the public servants, the professionals who design, maintain, and lead the parks that shape our communities. Under the daily Parks and Rec show, we produce 6 powerful platforms. Leadership in Parks and Rec, a spotlight on directors, superintendents, and visionaries shaping the future of public spaces. Facility maintenance, where the boots hit the ground, a deep dive into the systems, crews, and craftsmanship that keep our parks clean, safe, and beautiful. Young Professionals Network, shining a light on the next generation of Parks and Rec. Students, interns, and mentors sharing how we build a legacy together. Youth Sports Mastery, sponsored by National Academy of Athletics. This series is for coaches, parents, and rec leaders working to make youth sports fun, fair, and meaningful again. The Rec Room, hosted by the passionate leaders of Henry County Parks and Rec. This show brings frontline energy and real-life stories from the field. And the weekly Parks and Rec Post, our official newsletter delivering stories, insights, and community wins every week. We are DPRS Media Co, LLC, a media company with a mission to uplift the professionals who serve every community, every park, every day.